Nearly 23 million Americans who had COVID now have long COVID. This means they have COVID-related symptoms more than 3 months after recovering from COVID-19.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I'm Sign1News anchor Jaydeep Gore. Here is a quick look at the top trending stories making headlines today. If you post an interesting comment about this update, we may add it at the bottom of the screen. Doctors are keeping a close eye on a little-known respiratory virus. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports cases of human metapneumovirus, known as HMPV, spiked 36% higher than average this spring. Medical professionals say HMPV is tricky to diagnose because it has the same symptoms as other respiratory viruses, like the flu and COVID-19. Those symptoms include coughing, runny nose, sore throat, and fever. But CDC researchers say HMPV is causing a higher percentage of positive tests, particularly for young children and seniors. But unlike COVID-19 and the flu, there's no vaccine for HMPV or antiviral drugs to treat it. Instead, doctors care for seriously ill people by tending to their symptoms. So be sure to tell your doctor if you are experiencing any of the symptoms. How strong are your leg muscles? According to researchers, there is growing evidence that building muscle strength in your legs is good for your heart. It could even lead to better outcomes for people who have heart attacks. Researchers in Japan studied quad muscles, which are located in the front of the upper legs, in more than 900 older patients who were hospitalized because of a heart attack. They found the risk of another heart attack was more than double for those who had weak quads than patients who had strong quad muscles. The findings have not yet been published, but were presented at the European Society of Cardiology's meeting this month. In a similar study back in 2016, the same researchers found that muscle mass in your upper arms could be associated with rates of surviving heart disease. Interesting. Authorities in Hollywood, Florida, released this disturbing video showing hundreds of people running in fear after a gunfight broke out between two groups Monday night. When police arrived on the scene, they discovered 9 people had been shot, including a 1-year-old child. One person has been detained, but authorities are still searching for an additional suspect, who was described as wearing a black short-sleeved shirt and camo shorts. According to the Gun Violence Archive, this shooting, plus others over the weekend, brings the total number of mass shootings in the U.S. to 262 so far this year. The end of the Memorial Day weekend means the unofficial start of summer, and that means lots of trips to beaches and pools. But the country has a big problem right now. Not enough lifeguards. Some pools are being forced to shut down. Others are posting signs that say, swim at your own risk. Swimming at your own risk could have dangerous consequences. The CDC estimates about 4,000 people in the U.S. die from drowning each year. Which is why lifeguards undergo extensive training in first aid. But lifeguard first aid and CPR courses can cost more than $400. Those high fees, plus low hourly wages, are some of the reasons for the lifeguard shortage. The pandemic also made the problem worse. When pools and beaches were closed, it forced lifeguards to find other jobs. This weekend, President Biden and House Republican leaders reached a tentative deal to address the country's debt ceiling crisis. But the fight is not over yet. Now leaders in both parties have to convince enough of their members to vote for the agreement. And there are already many members voicing their opposition to the deal. Today, the House Rules Committee met to discuss the deal. If it clears committee, it could go to a full House vote by this Thursday, June 1st. But the full Congress must address the debt ceiling by June 5th, or experts say the U.S. will not have enough funds to pay its obligations in full and on time. The summer movie season is officially here, and it is going to be a busy month for movie fans. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse debuts in theaters this Friday, June 2nd. Transformers: Rise of the Beasts hits theaters June 9th. The long-awaited superhero flick, The Flash, hits theaters on June 16th. And it features not one, but two former Batmen, actors Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck. Wes Anderson's Asteroid City premiered at the Cannes Film Festival in May, opening in limited release June 16th. And now opening in theaters across the country June 23rd. And finally, The Man in the Hat is back. Actor Harrison Ford returns in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The fifth Indiana Jones big screen adventure arrives in theaters June 30th. Researchers say they may have recorded evidence of an octopus having nightmares. It's really weird science. For a month, an octopus named Costello was watched by researchers at Rockefeller University and Hunter College. While asleep, Costello was observed exhibiting sudden erratic movements, similar to the behavior of fighting off a predator. Researchers say his body starts to spasm, then he starts flailing his arms and squirts black ink into the water. The ink is a common tactic for fighting predators, even though there was no threat present. The group's findings have not yet been peer-reviewed, but they say the evidence is the closest they have found to a wild animal exhibiting the human-like behavior of night terrors. Wow, amazing. Sign1News will be broadcasting updates Monday through Friday. A big thank you to our Sign1News app supporters. You help make this broadcast happen. You can download the Sign1News app by heading to the App Store or Google Play Store on their smartphone, and you can also watch on Apple TV, Amazon, and Roku.